What's up guys, welcome back to Quake Combat. Today we are going to learn how to parry in a bunch of different variations and different ways. That's probably going to help a lot of you because it's Southpaw and Orthodox. So what we're going to do guys is deal with a Orthodox fighter first. So I'm going to just parry the jab. This is really basic. If you guys already know how to do that, maybe you can wait for the next videos and jump along and jump on the more advanced parrying, but I'm going to teach you guys how to do it basically, and this is how I learned it. So I'm going to parry a couple different ways on this lead hand. So I'm always going to use my rear hand when I'm being static, okay? So that's a really key thing to remember. If I'm static and the jab comes from an Orthodox fighter and I'm an Orthodox fighter, I'm going to use my rear hand to parry it. So she jabs, boom, okay? Obvious reasons, if I use my lead hand, my chin's open to get hit, okay? We're going to move on to that later in a way that I can actually use my lead hand. So in this situation, I'm not going to use it. I will use it in a different one. So when it comes to the actual parry, there's a few things you can do. So I'm going to break it down right down to its roots, okay? And so I'm going to show you guys how to slip this jab first. Boom. So I'm going to slip, I'm going to roll my head in just a little bit mainly with my head just like this, okay? Because I'm going to chuck this on the end of my parry. I can choose a couple of ways to parry. I can parry it down, boom, alrighty. I can parry it across. It's entirely up to you. A lot of people say it should be one way, but I believe that you can choose because, for example, if I parry it down, I can come straight over the top with my right hand, bang. If I parry it across, I can do the same thing, boom, or I can throw my low kicks, alrighty. I don't think there's much of a difference. You choose, find which one's easiest for you. If I parry it across, or down, in both of these situations, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my head to the side like I showed you at the start, because this is just compensating for the person if they're quicker than I anticipated. So let's say Marissa goes to throw her jab and I time my parry but I miss. Boom, it's just going to hit me in the face, okay? So what I'm going to do is safeguard myself by also moving my head. So if I do miss, and I move my head with my parry, I'm still safe, okay? Even though I missed this bit and mucked up here, I'm still right there. So guys, now when I parry and do my head at the same time, it's just gonna look like this. All right, so I knock it here, I pull my head out to the side, and I can choose my attack from then on. So I'm gonna leave this hand out of the way for now. So Marissa parries, that's what it looks like, okay? So when I look at the camera, boom. And my hand only moves a little bit. If I'm parrying it down, I just bend my wrist. If I'm parrying it across, boom, I do the same thing. I knock it across or I knock it down. Don't reach, okay? If she jabs, I don't want to reach out and try to parry it like this, okay? Because if someone reads that massive movement and they realize that's a habit of mine is reaching out to parry jabs, Marissa's just going to fake. And I'm going to parry, miss, and then she's going to come around the side. Boom, okay? So if I parry smaller and she fakes, my hand comes back to my head. So if she goes fake and then throws a hook, at least my hand gets back to my head, okay? So don't reach. Don't reach like this, because this will happen. Boom, okay? So guys, how we're gonna drill the parry is I'm gonna have my partner throw singular jabs at me, okay? So they're gonna start out of range like we always do, and they're gonna step in and jab. Boom. I'm just going to parry like this. I'm going to pop my head to the side. I'm either going to choose to parry it down, or I'm going to choose to parry it across. Okay, you guys can decide. You can actually do both. It's up to you. So Marissa steps in, boom, I parry. Sometimes she's just going to fake and throw a hook as well. Okay, so I'm just going to drill this like this. She's going to jab, boom, I parry. She fakes sometimes, and I block. All right, so just create a good habit. Make sure when you parry, it's just your wrist pretty much. Okay, I don't need to use my arm. If something is coming at me really fast, like for this jab, for instance, it's coming at a high velocity, it only takes a tiny tap, boom, to knock it off its course, alrighty? So I don't need to parry by smacking it like this. Just boom, tap it, boom, alrighty? Again, she fakes, and my hand's there, okay? You guys can speed it up if you want, it's entirely up to you. So guys, now we're going to parry and add our jab to it. So we're going to look at a few different situations depending on our height or what our preference is to counter, okay? So After I parry, let's say I am taller than Marissa. Let's say we're looking at a taller versus shorter fighter. If I'm taller, I can parry it down, boom, and I can just jab over top, boom, like this, okay? If Marissa's shorter than me, I'm gonna demonstrate it. So if I'm shorter than Marissa and I parry, I'm gonna parry it to the side so that this jab sort of comes over my shoulder, boom, and then I'm gonna throw my jab, okay? So when I'm taller than somebody, I can parry my jab down. I'm not saying you can't parry it across, but it's much easier to parry it down, but boom, and come over top like this. Alrighty? If I'm shorter than her, I'm gonna parry it across and try to get it over my shoulder like I'm slipping, boom, and then just jab up. Okay, so without the parry, it would look like this. But I'm gonna add the parry. Alrighty, so I dip down, boom, and when you parry and jab, it's gonna be extremely fast because my jab is theoretically intercepting this right hand. Even if they're not actually intending to throw a 1-2, I need to act like they are. Because if I'm too slow, if Marissa throws a 1-2 and I parry jab too slow, boom, I'm gonna get hit. Okay, so my parry jab needs to be like, and if you're drilling like gloves on with our guys, just get your partner to hold their glove like this. Alrighty, so they're gonna jab, I'm gonna parry and jab their hand. Alright, so if I'm taller, I can come over top. If I'm shorter, I'm gonna pop to the side and parry it across. Okay, I dip my head down. So guys, I've been parrying it, I've been throwing my jab, now I'm just gonna parry and throw my 2. So, boom, off the same side, so my rear hand, okay? So, orthodox, remember? So as Marissa throws her jab at me, I'm gonna come straight over the top. So like I said before, I can come over, or I can come to the side, but to be honest, with my rear hand, I probably wanna come over. It's much easier. So as Marissa throws her jab, boom, I tap down like I do. I don't reach too big, I just tap with my hand. And straight from here, I'm gonna turn my back heel. I don't wanna pump. So when I parry, I don't wanna parry this down, boom, and then try to go bang to generate some power. What I'm gonna do is just turn my back heel, turn my knuckle, and drive my hip forward. So as I parry, boom, I'm gonna launch straight from here with my hand. Even though it's a little bit extended from my face, I'm gonna turn my back heel, turn my knuckle down, boom. Okay? So exactly the same thing. It needs to be just as fast as my jab, as my parry jab. Boom. But bang, boom. Okay, so Marissa throws, she's gonna hold her hand like she did before with the jab. I'm gonna go parry 2. Remember, I'm static. She's stepping in to jab me. All right? Also remember, they have their momentum. So if somebody really commits with their jab, or even if they're gonna try and throw their 1-2, their own weight is gonna cause them pain. So I don't have to move anywhere. I just ground myself, parry, and drive my hand in. Alrighty? What I can do to make it safer, so just like before, as I parried and move my head to the side, as I parry and throw my 2, I can pull my head off the center line. So let's say for some reason they threw a offbeat punch. So instead of throwing a normal 1-2 like this, boom, boom, as their jab came out, their right hand's sitting here. So it's forwards more. So the rhythm wouldn't be boom, boom, it would be boom, boom. So as soon as I parry, the 2 comes, but bang, like that, and I'd be off time. So what I'm gonna do is pull my head outside just in case that did happen. So if she did throw that punch, boom, I'm here. So even though I technically didn't beat her to her right hand, I slipped her punch and I still won. So parry 2, pull my head off to the side like this, boom, parry, pull my head here, their right hand will go over my shoulder. Depending on how tall you are, guys, will dictate how long your rear hand is gonna be. For instance, Marissa's a little bit shorter than me, so her jab doesn't quite reach as far as my hand, so I land with a bent arm like this, but that's okay. If we were the same height and Marissa jabbed and she was very, very long, let's say it's at my face and I parried, I'd be hitting like this. Okay, so we're gonna go over both those guys. Parry jab, but remember, with my parry jab, I'm gonna do 2 options. Parry it down and jab over top, or parry it to the side and sort of slip and jab at the same time. So we're gonna go over the top first. Now we're gonna go to the side. Now I'm gonna go parry 2. So guys, remember when you're parrying, boom, slip your head to either side, depending on which punch you're doing. So in this video, we're dealing with Orthodox versus Orthodox. So when I parry and jab, I pull my head off to the side like that, just to like safeguard myself in case the jab comes so fast that I misread it and it jabs me in the face. I pull my head off so at least it still goes over my shoulder and I don't get hit and I don't lose a point. And just to add one more drill, guys, we're gonna add one more drill into this video. It's gonna go parry 1-2, alrighty? So 2 ways to throw it, just like I did with the jab. I can come over top and throw my 1-2, or I can come to the side and throw my 2 over their shoulder. So it'll look like this. If I'm coming over top, I don't really have to move too much. And now when I'm gonna parry my head, if I was, for instance, if I was parrying a taller fighter, my overhand's gonna come like this. Boom. So all of them together, parry 1, parry 2, parry 1-2, parry 1-2. So parry jab, now parry jab again, now parry 2, now parry 1-2 over the jab, now parry 1-2 by going to the side. Always turn your back heel on your 2, guys. So guys, thanks for tuning back in. Today we did parrying the jab and parrying the 2, Orthodox versus Orthodox, okay? So we're gonna go on to Southpaw in the next video, so make sure you guys watch that one too, because sometime in your career you're gonna come across one of those funky left-handed people. There's not many of them, but they're hard to deal with. So today, guys, parrying Orthodox punches. I hope you guys got a lot out of that. Make sure you like, subscribe, comments below. So I'll see you guys next week.